A couple of things. Really want to focus on the Lexington Market renovations. We're doing quite a bit there. Our estimated cost for renovations is about $30 to $40 million. And I know we've had conversations about this in terms of what needs to be done, but Lexington Market, the RFP has been out. We're looking at getting this project started very quickly, but I also want to emphasize that it's not just about Lexington Market. We're looking at Cross Street, we're looking at Broadway, we're looking at Hollins, we're also looking at the Avenue Market, what needs to be done there. The Northeast Market is challenged and they've got some issues there that we're working on, and so I'm going to turn it over to Kirby and then have some other folks. You want to share first? Okay.
Great.
And I want to announce that our Councilman Costello is here. As you all well know, Lexington Market has been a project that's been on the drawing board now for several years, and it's time that we move it forward. And so we've been working with the folks that you see behind me about how we move it forward. But again, looking at this from a broader perspective of how we improve all the markets in the city so that not only will people continue to come to them, but they'll find them attractive places to buy food, be entertained, and enjoy themselves.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Pugh. My name is Kirby Fowler. I'm chair of the Public Markets Corporation as well as Lexington Market Corporation. I'm also by day the president of the Downtown Partnership. Lexington Market falls right within the Downtown Management Authority. Of course, it's very important to us. I want to also bring up with me Robert Thomas, who's the executive director of the Public Markets Corporation. I recall just about 6 years ago how frustrated many of us on the board were with the lack of momentum involving a lot of the public markets. And some of us were even willing to leave the board. But we changed tack. We found some new vibe and some new excitement and imagination, and so we decided to embark upon some renovations of some of the markets. First of all, the Northeast Market was the first to be undergoing a renovation, I think for about $1.8 million. If you don't know, yes, that's perfect. That's perfect. The Northeast Market near Hopkins Hospital was the first to undergo major renovations for $1.8 million. And the second was Cross Street Market just a few years ago, and many of you were at a press event yesterday where the new vendors were just announced. But that whole market at Cross Street Market is undergoing, I think, about $7 million renovation. And was it?
6.5.
6.5 million. And there's going to be massive change, not just to the vendor base, but also to the structure itself, with windows being punched out. At the same time, maintaining many existing vendors that many of us love. The market following that is Broadway Market. Colin Tarbert in your office was very instrumental to moving this project forward on Broadway. We are undergoing major renovation there as well, and in 2019 we'll see a new North Market and a new South Market with a restaurant concept as well. Again, major improvements, major momentum over these past several years. Lexington Market, being the most important market in the whole system of markets that we have, and also the most historic, is a little more complicated because of its size and its history. What?
Can't tell the market is
but it is one of the most important markets that exist in the country, public markets. And so about 7 years ago, we teamed up with Market Ventures out of Maine, and they did a lot of work soliciting community input and coming up with a plan for a new market. We hired architects and engineers, and we came up with a plan to build a new shed on the south parking lot. But it turned out to be a very expensive proposition, about $50 to $60 million worth of expense. We just didn't have that kind of money. During that time, as we were working on that design, we were able to raise, thanks to Robert's team, about $17 million towards a project. And that's thanks to the mayor, thanks to the governor. We found the $17 million to create a market. But still, we had a major gap in financing. So we brought in a very experienced team, Seawall. You know Seawall and Thibaut Mannequin, of course, from their great work. Our house is the most recent of their experiences and most relevant for us. They did such a fantastic job with our house. They seem to understand the future of public markets. So we brought them in, I think in January or February, and we started to work in earnest on looking at the current plan and whether it was feasible. After lots and lots of work and crunching the numbers and looking at a few possible concepts, they came back to the table and they said, we have a better way to do it. We have a way that'll save you potentially $10 to $20 million worth of cost. And that right now is what we're here to announce. First of all, that Seawall, in addition to doing that pre-development work, is going to be doing the development work for us for the next several years to be our developer consultant, to make this project happen. We think it's an important step forward. Robert's got a market to run. I'm a volunteer chair. We need somebody who can work on this year-round, and that's where Seawall comes in, and we've tons of confidence in what they can do. So they did a great job with the pre-development concept that now we've entered into this developer's consultant agreement with Seawall. They will immediately reach out to vendors, which they already started to do, as well as other community groups to get their input, which is a continuation of our solicitation of input over these past several years through Market Ventures. But we want the community and others to give input on the design of a new market. So what will it look like? We'll have a smaller shed in the south parking lot. It is going to be several square, I forgot the total square footage, but I won't even go there. It is going to be smaller. It's going to be smaller, and it's going to save us some money because we won't have to do certain excavation. We also will continue with the concept of opening up Lexington Street as a pedestrian mall, which on occasion will have a farmer's market aspect to it. But a new aspect to all this, and this was something that Tebow and his team really pushed, they liked the East Market building. And they said there's value to that East Market building. So we are going to retain that East Market building and turn it into something new. Perhaps there'll be a few vendors who will remain in there. Perhaps it'll be new workforce development space or new community space or new space for a brew pub or arts uses, who knows. But we felt it was very important. That structure has a lot of character to it, and it would cost us a lot to tear it down and put up a park in its place, so we might as well retain it. So the current plan is to create a smaller structure on the south parking lot and open Lexington Street and then retain the East Market building. Now, aside from all that, we have to figure out a way also to generate revenue for the project. We are seeking some federal financing and some charitable contributions for the Lexington Market project. But also, we have an important asset that the city owns to the west. It's the West Market parcels between Paca, Saratoga, Green, and what am I leaving out? Lexington Street. And there are 3 different parcels that make up that entire block. And it's something that was bid on before the recession. Somebody was interested in doing housing there. That ultimately went nowhere. But we decided, let's test the waters again. Let's test the waters again. So that's what we are doing. We are issuing later today, an RFP for the West Market parcels. We are anticipating, we are requesting a lease concept, not a sale concept. We are looking into profit sharing. We are also looking to preserve our net profit. We generate about $700,000 of net profit on that site today. We want to maintain that going forward with escalations and also reserve parking spaces for market use. The deadline for the RFP will be January 3rd. And we hope there's a lot of interest in the site. And we, of course, will have community input as well as board input going forward on that. But I do want to thank Robert Thomas and his team for helping to pull a lot of this together. The board has been very, very active in making all these changes happen. We're going to have announcements about Holland's Market and Avenue Market coming up shortly. We're not giving up on any of the markets. We're working aggressively to transform them, and this was not happening 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And this is thanks to the city's leadership, the mayor's leadership, the state support. We're making all these important transformations happen, and I'm just excited to see we're at this point.
Robert, did you want to share anything?
No, I'm good. Kirby covered everything.
He covered everything. Yes. Councilman, did you want to share anything?
That's good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 3 of these markets are in my district, the Avenue Market, Cross Street Market, and Lexington Market. This is critically important work, and I do want to take a moment to thank the mayor and Kirby and Robert, as well as Colin Tarbert for the mayor's office. A lot of this work started under Mayor Rawlings Blake, and Mayor Pugh has just sprinted through a lot of this and really accomplished a lot over the last year and a half with this. So thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to your team.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Mayor and Kirby and Robert and Councilman and Colin, thank you on behalf of Seawall. What an amazing honor. We really believe that reimagined real estate can unite cities. And of all of the projects we've ever had the opportunity to work on, this is the one that's going to prove that the most. So we're thrilled to roll up our sleeves. It's been a great process so far. We're going to start deep listening. everything we've ever done has been built from the inside out, gathering a ton of information and knowledge from tenants who have been there forever, from the neighborhoods that surround it. And this project belongs to the entire city. So we're excited to embark on it and are really honored to have this opportunity to work with you guys in partnership. Thank you.
Oh, sir, can we have
Questions,
your name, please?
Yes, I'm Thibault Mannequin with Seawall.
Okay, can you spell that for me?
Yeah, Thibault, Mannequin, Manekin. Thanks.
Any questions?
What is the timeline moving forward here?
We expect to break ground in 2019, toward the last quarter, and then move from there for a period of 21 to 26 months for construction, barring any unforeseen circumstances, but we should be up and running after that period.
And you said it was going to be a $30 to $40 million project right now?
We hope so.
And you have $17 million that you've raised and you're requesting more funding?
That's correct.
What kind of conversations are you having with the current vendors in Lexington Market right now?
We will start the conversations today. It's been a quiet phase as we've wrapped our arms around the terrific work that's been done to date. Having been selected to do the project and having come up with a developer's agreement, we are full steam ahead on listening. So today will be our first day spending time with the tenants.
Could you expand a little more on the pedestrian mall concept? What that would mean or look like?
Yeah. Just to further answer the prior question, the outreach to the vendors has been consistent over the last several years. Market Ventures met with many vendors as we were doing the initial work. And initially we were going to renovate the current East Market, and that was going to be it. But thanks to vendor input, we pushed the idea to rebuild or build on the south parking lot, a new piece of construction. So that was their input. So the vendors have been involved along the way, but we have been in this quiet period just as we've been crunching the numbers. But of course, the outreach to the vendors can be critical. In response to the pedestrian mall, Lexington Street it could be a backbone of the connection between the core downtown and the University of Maryland, Baltimore. The arcade, which was built in the 1980s, is basically a very large seating area on the second floor. There are vendors on the first floor, but we thought we should better connect the community and the pedestrians to a market. And plus, it would give us an opportunity to do a farmer's market. But it'd be very nice to look up that hill from Howard Street and see all straight through to the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and provide better connections for pedestrians. Right now, pedestrians walk through a parking lot in order to get from Packer Street to Utah Street. This will help to improve that.
And just so I'm clear on this, the previous designs that were released, I guess, 2 years ago now, they are out the window completely.
Well, Seawall met with the architecture team, and they've taken many of the ideas from that team. It is basically a box concept. We don't have any idea what it's going to look like, and that's why we want community and vendor input on that. But the prior design required, it was going to take the full southern parking lot, and loading and unloading would take place underneath the building. And you know there's a grade change there, so we require a lot of excavation. By creating a smaller building, we can do loading and unloading on an alley and not undergo the excavation. But the prior architecture team, Murphy Dittenhafer, did substantial work, much of which we can continue to keep, what the utilities aspect of the building, where certain elevator shafts should go. That's all stuff that could be very important to us moving forward. So I wouldn't say that we're throwing it all out. In fact, a lot of it was very useful.
But although there are no specific plans at the moment, you still expect to be able to break ground at the end of next year?
Yes, because the architecture team and also Whiting Turner was involved for the past couple of years doing a lot of the functional work behind the market. But it's about design. And we think we can work with the city and the vendors and the community to come up with a good design in the next few months. But there's parallel tracks we can use. As we're working on design, we can get the construction drawings done. And we are getting close on the financing side. The mayor's been involved in a request for federal financing for the gap. So we're getting close. But we could not do the $60 million project, but we can do a $30 to $40 million.
And then 17 million is part of the 30 million, or 17 is plus 30?
No, 17 is part, so we need another 13. Of course, with most construction, it'll go above that, but we need another 13 to even get to that 30 million mark.
Can you put the project in context with some of the other development happening in that area along Howard Street and nearby?
sorry.
Could you give a little context about what this project means, in looking at the other development that's happening in that area on Howard Street?
Well, Lexington Market has always been a centerpiece in that part of the city. And this is like connecting all of those opportunities that are growing around there, whether it be with the development that we're doing on Howard Street, because you know we're doing some work there, and what we're doing with University of Maryland, I think. And I think the other thing that's important here, and I know that T-Ball will take this into consideration, because as we look at our house, is maintaining and including more local vendors. That has been your footprint in our city, and we expect that that will continue.
Do you expect to still have, bring the vendors closer to floor level and to have them more accessible to people in the building as part of the design? I know that was a big issue that came up in previous iterations of the project.
I'm not sure I totally follow the question, but yes, there's going to be an amazing vendor, pedestrian, patron experience in all parts of the market.
And Madam Mayor, what does it mean for Baltimore to preserve this iconic market?
You know, when you travel throughout the United States and when people come here, they ask you about Lexington Market because it was so well known and is known throughout the country. So just to be able to maintain it, I think is great, but to enhance it, I think will be even a greater experience for people who are visiting our city as well as for the citizens of Baltimore.
And it did have a little bit of negative publicity over the summer. How much do you hope that this renovation will overcome that?
I think that when people see the results of the work that will take place, that it will be a positive, and it will be a positive change for Baltimore.
And just on that note, we've noticed in the past, I mean, the health department has reported fewer restaurant inspectors, not enough restaurant inspectors to go around the amount of restaurants that we have. Are you looking to try to get more inspectors for the health department?
Wait a minute, let me just finish. Are you all finished with
yeah.
questioning? Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
Pivoting. Are you looking to get more health food inspectors for these type of establishments where you have multiple vendors in one area and you need an inspector to be on everything?
So let's be clear about the inspections. You know, the health department is not the only one that does inspections. In fact, you have the housing department that does inspections. It's licensing and regulation. And so I think what Dr. Nguyen had shared with us is that even in the report around inspectors, that we have more inspectors and we are continuing to build on inspections, because with the work that we're doing, you know, going out to the neighborhoods and communities, as you well know, we walk neighborhoods and communities, at least I do, and other agencies are doing it on their own as well. At least once a week, we're going to different neighborhoods and communities looking at issues, whether it is a need for more inspections. We do that at least once a week. So we're carrying inspectors and so forth along with us, and so we'll continue to make sure that we have them.
Just to clarify real quick, since there are so many different hands involved in this project, the ownership, the operations, the leasing, who will handle each piece?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me have T-Ball. Did they leave? Okay, because I thought we were finished asking questions about Lexington Market. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure you get the right information. Okay, we'll come back to that. Is there any other questions on Lexington Market? Because we'll bring them back in if you all need additional questions. Okay.
Clarification on it.
Okay, we'll make sure we do that. Okay. I'll take a few. I've got one other issue I want to share with you all, and that is the Black Women for Positive Change. This is a national foundation that is coming to Baltimore for October 13th through the 21st. And they're going to, the co-chair of this is Darrell Winkie Smith and Dr. Crystal Francis, and they're going to be talking about the different groups that will be assembling in Baltimore to focus on positive change. Okay.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Danielle Winkie Smith. I am the co-chair of Black Women for Positive Change Foundation of Baltimore chapter. This is Dr. Crystal Francis, our co-chair as well. And we have Danny Blount with us, Travis Winkie with us as well, and Delegate Ben Brooks. Our honorary co-chairs are the Mayor Catherine Pugh, the council president, Jack Young, Travis Winkie Studios, Speaker Pro Tem Adrian Jones in Baltimore County, Julian Jones, council president in Baltimore County, Johnny Oshevsky, and Delegate Ben Brooks, as well as Danny Blount. The Black Women for Positive Change is a national policy-focused organization, predominantly African American women and good brothers. On October the 13th through the 21st, 2018, is our 6th annual Week of Nonviolence, Positive Change and Opportunities. This is a time when we will focus on the emphasizing alternatives to the cause of violence, i.e. jobs, education, faith, and economic development. We ask that you join us, the Baltimore chapter, along with 40 other cities in 3 countries, the National Black Nurses Association, the Baltimore County Alumni Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Moms Demand Action, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, North Carolina Central School of Law, governors, mayors, and faith leaders around the country. Our co-chair, Dr. Francis, will share with our scheduled events, and she'll go on with our scheduled events. Thank you.
Yeah, so for the Week of Nonviolence is October the 13th through the 21st, and Baltimore County and Baltimore City are partnering together to bring events that are going to promote peace and bring awareness to the need for nonviolence. On the 13th of October, we are hosting a film screening for the docu-short called The Drop, which is a story about a young man who is battling with dropping out of high school. And in the film, it talks about how dropping out of high school creates a pipeline to violence. So we are encouraging Baltimore City schools and Baltimore County schools to screen the film as well, and to have middle and high school students participate in an essay contest where they can talk about their reaction and some of the opportunities and things that we need in the community so that they can be successful. The second event that we're hosting is on October the 21st. That is called the Charm City Cypher. This is a forum where we use music to promote nonviolence and bring a need to de-escalation. And so we ask that community members who are interested in participating and using their talents to come to the Cypher to spread peace and nonviolence through music. And we use those forums specifically to cater to youth so that they can feel like they're a part of the solution for changing the culture of violence in our community.
So where is it happening?
These are going to be happening at the Randallstown Community Center, and we are also asking for the Baltimore City schools to participate. We are going to send correspondence to presidents within the community associations to ensure that communities can get out and participate.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I've got a couple other announcements. Thank you all. I've got a couple other announcements. Our auxiliary, Kirby.
Robert here if you want
Okay. Get your question. Well, Colin, you were sitting there. You could have answered those. It's so quiet. There were a couple other clarification questions that they wanted.
Yeah, I was just looking to clarify the ownership, management, leasing, like who's going to handle which part of what for the market itself?
Are you talking about the new RFP or the existing market, or both?
Both.
Both. Okay, gotcha. The build on the south parking lot would be on city-owned property, but it'd be operated by Lexington Market Corporation. So it's a city entity basically, although independent quasi. So that would all be maintained within Lexington Market's control. The west parcel, it's up to the proposers, but it is owned by the city. We want it to remain owned by the city, and there could be a long-term lease on that. But the likelihood is that Lexington Market, Inc. would not have much of a role to play in the west market parcel, but it all depends on what we get back.
Do you have the addresses for those West Market parcels that are going to be in the
We can get them.
The key,
Do you have them?
the key address for the West Market parcels is 520 West Lexington Street, even though it covers that entire block.
And can I ask you another question as well for Broadway Market? Any new information on vendors that might be going in there? I did a story maybe a month ago that the guy who operates Judy's had a liquor license for the building. Any more information on whether he'll be doing something or who else might be in there?
The vendor list, the vendor mix is still being developed. We're working out our combinations. We want to make sure that we hit the kind of things that are interesting for the community and in response to what the community has said, at least to some degree.
Any other?
Developer agreement with Seawall going to be made public?
I don't actually know what the rules are with regard to the Lexington Market documents. I don't know. But we can find out. We can find
So I
out.
just want to be able to say what exactly their role is going to be. Are they just building it? How do they make money off this?
Sure. Well, I could give you those details, but it's the mayor's press conference, so I don't know if you want me to answer. Yeah.
Sure. We like being above board.
No. Okay. Seawall is brought in to oversee architects, engineers, contractors, help with financing, all those things. And they are receiving a monthly payment. And if it goes to closing and the market actually opens, there'll be a payment at the end for them as well. But we'll have to determine, I don't know what the rules are with regard to the document generally, but that's the structure of it.
So the goal is to save the 13 million that we talked about initially, and they're overseeing that process. They're like the consultant to the project.
For the RFP, do you know the average total square footage of those parcels are? And range on how large it is?
I don't think that design, right,
About
yeah.
an acre. Okay, thank you.
How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay. All right, because I've got another event I have to be at. And, just to remind you all, vote. The Arts Social Club, I voted today already 5 times. I understand there was something like 100,000 votes for all the cities. So that means we're not doing our part in Baltimore. So please go on the website and vote yourmainstreet.org, vote for the Arts Social Club. And you can vote 5 times a day so they can get that money. All right, I'll take questions.
Where do we stand on the commissioner search, Madam Mayor?
Same where we were last week, at the end of the month. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, is he still being considered?
Yes. Mhm.
How does this screening process differ from the process that Commissioner D'Souza went through?
Well, I don't think Commissioner D'Souza had a long screening process.
I mean, is it a more substantial process now as compared to that?
Well, I think that it is more inclusive of other people.
Do you still expect to have someone named and in place at the end of the month?
I expect to have someone named by the end of the month, yes.
So you don't, so with the new process in place, you don't feel like there's any chance of a repeat situation with Commissioner D'Souza with her?
I'm going to go on record again and say the same thing I said when I chose Commissioner D'Souza. I believe I chose a great person to lead the department. His tax issues or whatever other issues that impacted his policing had nothing to do with the work that he was doing. We were reducing violence. I had a goal. He was meeting those goals, but other things interfered that were personal, and he's left this department. And so I think we've said that we will put additional screening in place to make sure that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way down to Z, I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Okay?
Will you be naming the folks who are involved with the panel reviewing applications?
No.
Then Madam Mayor, I mean, obviously you talk a lot about data and the crime data. What is the data telling you right now about why there was this spike in homicides in September, why there have been 3 homicides so far in October?
There are, I think if you had a conversation with the police commissioner, there's a lot of retaliation. There were some domestic cases, but we have too many illegal guns in our city. I noted when I had a conversation with the Sun this morning, as it relates to their opinion piece, the cities that they want to compare us to have stricter gun laws. You know, look at Massachusetts' gun laws. Look at New York City's gun laws. We don't have the same laws in Baltimore City. There are too many people with illegal guns. You all know that last year we asked the state for assistance and they provided it. Additional policing, state troopers are here, ATF is here, DEA is here, FBI is doing some investigations here, and overtime is being monitored. But I mentioned before, we don't have enough police officers and we need more. We will look at, Jane, those who have abused overtime in our police department, because when I looked at the individual that you pointed out, you'd have had to work 80 hours a week on a 4 to 3, because they were on a 4 to 3. So I don't know how you do that unless you're me. But that's the reality. So we will look at that. But in every barrel, you know, there is a bad apple or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can. And so as I look at what we're doing, and that is trying to get as many police officers into the police department as quickly as we can without violating the process. You all heard the complaints earlier, even from the training perspective. Are you all training these police officers the way that they should be to meet the needs of the streets of Baltimore? And we've got to make sure that we're doing that in a credible way and in the right way. We can't negate the 10.5 months training. If we average 5 classes a year, at 40 individuals a year, that will net you 200 officers per year. When I came in, as you all know, we were losing 20 to 25 officers a month. That's 300 officers a year, 600. You would still be 100. You would still be down each year. And so what that says to us, talking about looking at the data, is that we need to train 10 times, 5 classes currently. We need to add 5 more classes. So we're having conversations right now with Coppin State University about how we add those additional classes. I'm asking the state for additional training dollars. Our training budget right now is about $8 million plus. We'd allowed the auxiliary police force insurance for a number of years had lapsed. That is in place. We had an orientation last evening for the auxiliary police force. And so there'll be another orientation on the 7th of this month. Classes begin for auxiliary police force at the end of this month, so there's still time to get in. So individuals who are interested in becoming auxiliary police officers can call 410-396-2526. So that's 410-396-2526, or they can go to the police department's website. So we are recruiting auxiliary police officers. I've had a conversation with the state about additional help from state troopers, because as you know, they're patrolling the perimeters of our city and have been able to make some 90 stops in just the last few days and have been able to grab guns off of our streets. Just about every crime that is committed with a gun is with an illegal gun in the city, and we've got to do better than this. And so we are asking for help. I know that the commissioner has inked a letter to the state for specific help today to maybe get some additional patrol folks at the state level to help patrol the city. As you well know, we're still monitoring overtime, but we don't have enough officers, and that's a reality. And I ask you all, if you want to see what that looks like, go to a roll call, and you'll see what we're sending out on the streets. It's just not enough.
But Mayor, there's a very extensive staffing report, which I'm sure you've seen,
Mm-hmm.
was done through the consent decree process, that says the city's budgeted positions are more than adequate.
But they're not filled.
But that's an internal problem.
Right, that's a hiring problem. And
Well, it's also, according to the staffing report, an internal problem of decision-making in personnel. They have found in Baltimore has, compared to other cities of similar size, has many more sworn officers holding civilian positions. This is not a new problem.
But these are things, Jane, that we're looking at, you know, taking some of those police officers. That's what we're putting. We just put another 100 and some odd police officers. I asked the commissioner, scrub the police department, get those folks out of the department onto the streets. That's why we're bringing in more auxiliary folks. That's why we're looking at civilianization of positions that are being held by police officers that need to be on our streets. The other thing that happened, when you freeze police positions, you eliminate folks coming into your patrol department. So you're top heavy as it relates to some of your command staff, and you don't have enough folks to patrol the streets of our city. And so what I've said, and I'm very clear about this, all hands on decks. You know, everybody who can be, should be on the streets. Detectives should be solving homicides, but we need our officers, I don't care what your rank is, on the streets of our city, patrolling our neighborhoods and patrolling our communities.
Earlier this summer, we've had an increase in violence in 1 month compared to the previous year, the previous year's month. This month, September, we had 37 homicides. In September 2017, we had 31. Is your data showing that we're still trending downwards with
Yes.
the protocol you've put into place?
Absolutely.
And how is that?
You mean, what do you mean, how is it?
I mean, just. can
Because
you say who they're-
you've beat every single month except for 2. We're now into the 10th month of the year. So that means that 8 of those 10 months, you exceeded, you were able to close the gap greater. For example, if you look at May, how tight we were in terms of the reduction of violence, the only other month would have been April. But every other month, we were below what we were the previous year. That's how that happens.
Madam Mayor,
What
just
do you
going back
expect
to
the impact is going to be of Amazon, which employs a lot of people in Baltimore City and in the region? What do you think the impact of their raising their wage to $15 is going to be in the larger picture?
Oh, I think it's great for the city, because we have a lot of folks who work at Amazon. They have a great presence in our city, and they have plants around Baltimore, in Baltimore County and Baltimore City, and I think you would venture to say that many people are from Baltimore City. We are championing moving towards $15 an hour at the state level, and we'll continue to do that.
Does this help?
Yeah, it helps, absolutely. Because when others can see that companies and corporations around us can do it and in our city can do it, then we should be able to do it.
Madam Mayor, with the gun laws you mentioned with New York City and Boston, what are some of the gun laws you would like to see passed and implemented here in Baltimore?
I think we put those on the table. We put that on the table earlier this year to the city council, and they rejected the law. So I think that conversation should be had with the city council.
So you mean that was in your crime plan? That you-
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, homecoming. Sorry.